time you are dealing with financial instruments, what you need to look out for is who is having the contractual right. Is there a contract? You have to look at it, please. Is there a contract? Okay, is there a contract between the two parties? If there's a contract, then you can look at it like what financial instruments takes place. But if there is no contract, then there is no what financial instrument. So you need to be careful. An examination question can come in the form of giving a scenario. They can paint a scenario. Okay, don't be carried away by the scenario. Just make sure you look at it critically and say that, okay, is there a contract? Is there an obligation to receive? Okay, who is receiving? Okay, if someone is receiving, that means that that person becomes what a financial asset. Okay, and who is giving? Who is having an obligation to give? Then you look at it like, okay, this has to do with what? Financial liability. So every time I not pick question. I mean calculation. They can just bring in a simple scenario and they just put 12 mark. So you are just to sit down based on your understanding, based on what we've done in class now, and just look at like, okay, who is having the financial, like, who is having the, is there a contract? Okay, there's a contract, then you are good to go. Then you just state what the standard state according to IFRS 9 or according to IAS 32, as the case might be. Okay, and then you back up your opinion with whatever you want to say. And I tell you, you get your complete mark. You get your mark on that. Okay, I've explained financial liability. I've explained financial asset. So I take in the first arm of financial instruments, and that is financial liability. Financial liability. Okay. So under financial liability, the first thing you have to do, when it comes to measurement, according to IFRS 9, is to measure at what is called fair value. And what is a fair value? A fair value is a transaction price. Okay, is a transaction price. So when we say transaction price, we are saying that what the cost minus any other what issue cost or minus any other what discount. Then after the initial measurement, what are you to do? How do you measure again? Say you should measure through what amortized cost and fair value through profit or loss. Now let me tell you this. Please, I want you to listen very well for those of us that are in class and those of us that are not in class. There are two methods you could use under subsequent measurement: amortized cost and fair value through profit or loss. In your exam, for exam purpose, the question is going to direct you to which one you are to use. Okay, which one you are to use. Then you should know that, okay, this is why I'm using this. This is why I'm using that. So we started with amortized cost. We said you can use amortized cost is one of the default methods for financial liabilities. If you close your eyes, if I tell you that which method you should use what amortized cost. But there are some situations where you can use what fair value through profit or loss. That's what I want to teach today. And then financial assets. And then let me close the gap. It's a lot. I can use 2 weeks to teach this thing. It's a lot because there are so many areas we need to touch. But trust me, I just want you to cover. Don't look at anything. Just cover. Focus on what we are just doing in class, and we will be good. You'll still be covered. Okay. So subsequent measurement is dealing with amortized cost and fair value through profit or loss. Under amortized cost, what are those things you need to see in your question? You need to see in your question and say that, okay, this thing I'm going to use what amortized. I'm going to use what amortized cost. You said here issue like bond issues, here issue like loans, trade payables, and preference shares. So we said amortized cost is calculated using the effective interest method. So in your question, let me put it this way: in your question, if it is not used, if you check the questions you've solved under what amortized cost, it is not used for trading. It's like a loan. There's a loan that takes place. Okay, let me even try and see one of the two questions, because you need to be very careful. Don't use amortized cost for where you need to use fair value through profit or loss. Okay, you need to be very, very careful on that. So let me see some questions we've taken in the past. Okay, I think we have that of oil, we have that of wagons, and not like that. So whereby it is not used. But one thing you must know, one thing I used to tell myself is I want to use amortized cost. I'll check the question very well. If the question is not telling me that you need to do what's called trading, you need to trade, that is buy or sell. You're not buying or selling. They just say that there's a loan there's a preference shares kini kan, redeemable at kini kan with a coupon rate of this, issue cost is this, then you know that it's what amortized cost. Today we'll be looking at fair value. So if I teach you fair value, I think by the end of the class, you'll be fully aware of how to differentiate between amortized costs when you have a question on amortized cost and fair value through profit or loss. So you don't need to take them one after. They are two different things, okay? Amortized cost, fair value through profit or loss. Then I'm going to also teach us convertible instruments, what they call compound instruments. Compound instrument today. Okay, so I don't want to wait. I'm just going back because of our new people joining us today. So these things are the things you look out for your question. Sorry, please. It's going to take a long day today because of my network. So, so let's go into. We took a couple of questions. I'll just use one to explain. Then I'll go to what we have for today's class. Okay, look at this question. I believe they gave us the initial measurement. So the first thing is that when I saw the question, let me go back to the question for the purpose of this class. I saw a question. Okay. Okay, so I have this question on James. I think everybody did that. So James. So I don't know. So you need to fall back to those questions. Just take them one after the other. Then you can privately chat me. I'm always available, please. You can privately chat me on any issues there. But I want to go back on that particular question. So I'll just read it out so you can understand where I'm coming from. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that financial liability can be of two methods at which you measure them. The first one is initial measurement that you measure at fair value. This one you are seeing here is the initial measurement at fair value that you can see. Then the subsequent measurement can either be done through amortized cost or through fair value. I mean, fair value through profit or loss. Okay, through profit or loss. So the questions are always alike. Just go through the questions. You see that they are always like the same thing. So in the particular question that I'm talking about here, we have the cost of the bond to be 50,000, 50,000, and then they gave us some issue cost. Issue cost was 2,000, and then they gave us discounts. They said discounts from the supplier that we are going to be getting is at 16%. So that means you have to less our discount. At the end of the day, the initial recognition of the liability is 40,000. It's no more 50,000 again. It is 40,000.